Hi, everyone. Welcome to the USU podcast. This is Julie. I am your host, and I've got to tell you, you are in for such a treat today. You have no idea, but I want to tell you so you do have a little bit of an idea of this incredible being that you're about to get to know and meet. I am so honored and privileged to introduce you to Dr. Shawn Stephenson. I want to tell you a little bit about him before you get to meet him yourself. And this will be recorded both in audio and video, so you can always tune in on YouTube as well. Dr. Shawn Stephenson was predicted not to survive at birth because of a rare bone disorder that stunted his growth and caused his bones to be extremely fragile. In fact, fracturing over 200 times by the age of 18. Despite his challenges, he took a stand for a quality of life that has inspired millions of people around the world. Over the past 24 years, his powerful message has been heard at live events in nearly all 50 states and in 16 countries. Dr. Shawn has presented at hospitals, universities, prisons, and to companies such as Nike, Whole Foods, Zappos, Walmart, and Sharp Healthcare. He has shared the stage with US presidents, billionaire business moguls, celebrities, and His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama. Shawn has appeared on everything from The Oprah Show, Jimmy Kimmel, in addition to online videos with tens of millions of views. The Biography Channel product produced an hour-long feature on his life called 3-Foot Giant. Highly recommend it. His international best-selling book, Get Off Your Butt, has been translated into over a dozen different languages. As a board-certified therapist and doctor of clinical hypnosis, Dr. Stephenson sees clients in a unique 12-hour session that gets to the root of their fears, excuses, and insecurities. Each year, Shawn hosts live events and group coaching programs to mentor individuals in the art and business of public speaking. While Shawn isn't working, he can be found in the gym, watching basketball, or reading side by side with his wonderful wife, Mindy. Both Shawn and Mindy reside in Scottsdale, Arizona. I had the privilege of getting to hear Dr. Shawn myself at the Best Year Ever Blueprint Conference in San Diego. I was so moved, literally moved to tears, that I went up to him afterwards and slightly begged and pleaded for him to be on the show so that you could get to hear from him yourself. Dr. Shawn, it is such a pleasure and honor to have you here. I can't thank you enough, and I'm so grateful to have you with us on the USU podcast.
Well, thank you for having me, and call me Shawn, and it's such a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. All right, I will. So one of the, I'm just like sorting through where to start with you, because one of the questions that I'm really, really just fascinated by is this idea of being, I call it your USU, I think of it as your sacred purpose, what you're here to do. And you spoke about this so eloquently. I'd love to hear from you in your own words. Like, what does that mean to be your USU? What does that look like for you? As much as you'd like to share on that would be just a gift.
Sure. Well, I think most people don't think about that very often. They fall into like a lemming's trap of mom said I was this, dad said I need to be that way. And it's so seductive to just do what society says you need to be doing and fit into the category of whatever everybody else thinks you should be. And doing you and being your USU is to really go inside and find what lights you up. There are people on this planet that feel guilty pursuing what lights them up because that's not what dad did, or that's not what mom thinks I should be doing, or that's not what my neighbor would approve of, or whatever it may be. And so then they put what I call their glow on low, and they struggle. They struggle because maybe they become a school teacher when they really want to be a fitness instructor. You can't have that. You got to be playing large and pursuing that goal no matter what's going on.
Beautiful. Yeah. Talk about, just even in reading your bio and thinking about, I remember your joke was, I'm probably going to botch it, so I'm going to ask you to say it again, but, all these doctors predicted that you wouldn't be here, and now they're all dead. And
yeah.
so all of us have adversities and things that we struggle and deal with. For you to have 200 bone breaks and issues,
Fractures.
I can't even get my head around it. What is the secret for you that really helped you to not just do well, but to blossom and flourish and just embrace everything?
Well, I would say it was part spirit and part ego. The spirit was feeling connected to humanity. And at a young age, I learned that we all have pain, and that the reason why I was put into this container is to be able to get the attention of the human race and to be able to share with them how they can get through their pain and enjoy life, because you don't get to avoid pain. Nobody gets to skip out on it. I've never met somebody that said, you know what, I've lived such a charmed life. I've never been hurt. I've never been dumped. I've never been screwed over. You just don't find it, right? And so for me, it was part spirit. Like, I want to share with humanity what has gotten me through my dark days. And then the other part was ego, is you're not going to tell me I'm going to die. I'm not ready yet. You're not going to tell me I can't, make my own living. You can't tell me I can't have a normal love life. You can't tell me that I can't travel the world or live in a warm climate or make my own money or do things on my terms. The ego, if it's used in a proper, healthy way, where it's not stepping on other people to get where you need to go, but rather, sometimes just saying, like, watch me, and I think that the watch me complex is what some people need to ignite. You take two people, and because my sister and family will never watch this, because that's not what they would probably research and find in their life, I can talk about them. And you take my sister. She is a person who is very cooperation based. She's an elementary school music teacher, which is perfect for somebody that's cooperation based. I'm competition based. And therefore, growing up, the way to motivate my sister was to create an experience where she felt like everybody was going to win. I did well if I was the only one that could win. And, having that competitive spirit of somebody saying, we don't think Sean will make it at this school, or we don't think we could accommodate his accessibility needs. My mentality was always, I'm going to show you that you can. I'm going to do it in a respectful way so that you'll still like dealing with me. Because usually what I found people with challenges deal with is they either cower and they get walked on and they feel, woe is me, and why doesn't anybody pay attention to me, and what's wrong with me? Or they become militant and they're screw you, and they have the middle finger energy, and that's not fun either. So the goal is to be that velvet hammer, that person that says, I will achieve this dream, and I will be a joy to be around at the same time. So it's having that energy from both the spirit and the ego that has pushed me all these years. And let me tell you, I don't think this is talked about enough by gurus and experts and healers out in the world, but I go through seasons. And the seasons, sometimes I'll go into a winter where I don't feel too inspired. I feel like, have I done everything that I've come here to do? Like, I don't feel the fire inside of me. And I go through that cycle of like, yeah, maybe I've had my turn here. And then something lights me up. I'll be working with a team member, or I'll be working with a customer, somebody who's interested in taking their life to the next level, and they'll say something to me, and I'll just flip that switch again, and I'll get fired up, and I'll be like, no, my time here is not done. I have to get back into the next season, and I'll go through that new process of getting excited and fall in love all over again with my purpose. But I want to make it clear to the listener that's on the other end of this, that you will go through seasons where you will be cold and you will feel like, what's the point? Why aren't I getting more ears and eyes on me? What happened? And that's just a part of the process. You're going to go through seasons.
So well said. And it's interesting because listening to you, of course, you're human and that makes sense. My head is like, no, he doesn't. No, he's always lit up. I mean, that's the.
Oh, yeah, talk to Mindy. She'll verify all this is true. And my seasons may not be as dark as other people's seasons. Some people might throw it all away, shoot up heroin, and like need to be in a gutter to like get through their winter, right? Where I might need to play video games for a couple months and feel sorry for myself, and hide it from the public. Because let's be clear, like, you know what's on that paper that you read of my intro.
Yeah.
But I don't put on my intro, Sean went through a year of battling with his own family and didn't speak to them. Sean went through a challenge physically and was in the hospital recently. Like, I don't put that on the intro because that's not what an intro is. But that's a part of my life. And whenever there's somebody that comes off squeaky clean, I know they're super dirty. It's like whenever somebody comes out and acts like they have it all together, I know they are hiding massively things. And that's why I try to be as transparent as possible and say, I deal with health challenges. I deal with scares with my own mortality. I deal days where I think to myself, has everybody heard everything important that I've ever had to say? Am I done here? Has God forgotten to come collect my soul? What am I still doing here? Like, that's very human and very much a part of what I deal with still.
Yeah. So question for you, because I'm listening, I'm hearing you, and I'm thinking of people listening in with their seasons, if they're in a winter and dark period. What are ways, because I know you also have a training as well, hypnotist psychology, what are ways that you deal with those dark periods, and what are some ways that you've seen really help others? I'm remembering one from Best Year Ever, but I'd love to hear from you.
Yep. So I'm going to share something that you learned. It's called the Unstoppable Formula, and it has helped me, and it's something that I teach because I need to hear it every day. Mm-hmm. It's not something that is tattooed in my soul and like it's easy breezy for me to follow. No, this is something that I have to work on every single day. When a person is shut down, knocked down, feeling like, what's the point? This sucks. I hate this. No one cares. It doesn't matter. Whenever we get into that woe is me death trap, if you will, what we need to do is we need to follow these 3 steps. Step number 1 is you need impeccable self-care. Impeccable self-care means you're doing everything in your power to take care of your mind, your body, and your spirit. And self-care is the cure to insecurity. And in order to get back up when you've been knocked down, you have to not let your insecurities run the show anymore. And insecurities will keep you down. Your insecurities will keep you playing small and being afraid. So the cure to insecurity is self-care. It's doing things like exercising, hydrating, something as simple as making sure I have enough water in the day is massive. Now, people on our team here, I'm like, if you don't see a glass of water in my hand, like, do something about it. Help me, please, because I'm failing at my hydration that day. If I'm not carrying water, that means I'm not consuming water. And so hydrating, exercising, proper sleep, meaning getting deep, restful, good, consistent sleep, studying powerful materials, listening to great podcasts like yours, listening and reading great audiobooks. In the next year coming up here, I'm taking on a massive challenge. I'm going to go through 52 books in 52 weeks. And I've been wanting to tackle this mountain my whole life. I've started up the mountain multiple times and then, slink my way back down after like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever it may be. And I'm going back up again and consuming content that enriches my mind, my body, my soul, spending time with my apprentices and teaching people, students, sharing, sending the elevator back down as I like to call it. Um, Meditating, breathing, doing conscious breath work, spending time in nature, spending time with my friends, creating content, putting things out into the world. If you want to feel close to your creator, create things. Anytime you see somebody that's really, really successful in any niche in business and life, they're out there creating. You don't find somebody that you're like, wow, this person's my hero, and they don't create anything. No, they're creators. That's why you're drawn to them. So you got to have your self-care list. You got to take care of that list and make it impeccable and stick to it. Then you can get back up from your insecurities, but then you have to have more energy to keep moving forward. So that's when you have to align with step 2, which is to align with your life purpose. So like, why were you born? That was a question one of my mentors asked me. Why were you born, Sean? And he kept asking me until finally I did what Mindy taught me to do, which is drop down out of your head into your heart and really listen to your intuition. What is your path? And for me, it's to rid the world of insecurity. See, step 1, making sure you're on your self-care list. So you need to find, why were you born? What is the bigger reason that's more than just making money, more than just getting people to like you on social media? Like, what is it that you're really tapped into that's bigger than you? And then once you have that connected, and some people that takes time to ask that question multiple times to find that path, then the last thing, and the reason why that's so valuable is when you have your life path, when you know your purpose to life, it's so much bigger than a hater on Facebook saying this content was stupid, or all she wants to do is sell me into her program, or whatever. Like, it evaporates that. It allows that to all be cleared out, and you hear only the voices that are in alignment with that, and you keep going. You need to have something much bigger than you. And then the third is you need to make sure that you're surrounding yourself with an empowering environment. Empowering environment means what you are consuming in terms of the conversations you're having, the people you're surrounding yourself with, where you actually live. You see this beautiful backdrop here? It's not like a green screen. This is actually where we live. This is Scottsdale, Arizona. And for a long while, I didn't believe I could ever leave where I was originally, born and raised in Chicago. I had the mentality of like, how would I leave my family? And I have roots here, and what if I don't do well and I have to come back here? And what's great about picking the right partner is Mindy was like, here's how we move. We just get a U-Haul and we go. We can live anywhere in the world. Where would we want to live? And we had multiple reasons to pick here. One of them for me was the weather. I need an empowering environment. That means I need to go outside and not feel like I want to die because it's so cold. I don't want to just fall asleep on the sidewalk and actually die like Chicago can do to you. So for me, I wanted to be in a warm climate. I need to see the blue sky. Like, that's legit blue sky almost every single day. And that was a part of my empowering environment. Empowering environment can mean the people you hang out with. There are times you have to limit your exposure to certain people, and then at times you have to completely cut them out. And so I'm constantly pruning the garden of who I spend time with. And the hardest part of the Unstoppable Formula is this last part, the empowering environment, because we have long-standing histories usually with people that are negative, or long-standing history with people that are constantly tearing us down and cynical. And at some point you have to say, I'm not going to take it anymore. And you have to remove yourself or remove them from the experience. And you also have to add things. You have to add empowerment. Like if you walked around this home, there's beautiful art, motivational art around. Like one poster says, the key to success is playing the hand you were dealt like it's the hand you wanted. And I see that every day. And all these other different posters around. Like, I want empowering visions, empowering sounds, empowering Smells, like having aromatherapy, things that are in your environment that lift you up. And if you are willing to do the self-care, align with your life purpose, have an empowering environment, you will be unstoppable. It is inevitable. You won't have to think about it. It will be done for you.
I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so good. This is so good. I have so many notes. Everyone listening, don't worry, because I know sometimes people listen when they drive and do other things. This will all be in the show notes and takeaways, because literally there's so much gold in here. I'm like,
Yes, drive safely on this call.
drive safely on while you're listening. One of the things you said, I remember at the conference, at the Best Year Ever Blueprint conference, and I love this. It's funny. For me, the question when there's something stressful or frustrating, usually for me, it's what's the lesson? What's the gift? What's the learning? I love learning. I'm a big lifelong learner. But you said something I liked even more, and I've been doing it, which is what's funny? What's funny about this? And I thought maybe you could just talk for a minute, because what a great flip. Like, you talked about flipping the switch. I don't know what goes on in your brain, but I've been doing it since I heard you say it, and it's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Well, most of the things that we worry about are not the big, horrible stuff. It's the little stuff that stresses us out. Why did they screw up this new merchandise that we just ordered for the company? How can they screw up my food at dinner at the restaurant? Like, we get all bent out of shape about little things, about traffic, or about how somebody looked at us, or about a comment on Instagram, or whatever. Like, versus what's funny about this? Oh, what's funny about this comment from this person on Instagram that's calling me a loser? They have 5 friends and they're telling me about how I should live my life. I think I will do what I'm going to do here. Thank you. And you have to be willing to look at what's funny about this. And stress is always evaporated when you're willing to laugh. Humans carry so much stress in their life. This is what I find fascinating. If you ask somebody, do you deal with insecurities? Some will be honest and they'll say, not really, I'm not that insecure. Some will be honest and say, yes, I have insecurities. But if you ask most people, do you deal with stress? People are comfortable admitting to having stress. But then you say, do you love to laugh? Yeah, absolutely. Do you like comedy? Ask most people, do you like comedy? You're going to get 80 or 90% of people, I love to laugh, I love comedy, I love a good comic. And everybody's got a different type of comedy. Some people have their own flavor, right? But at the end of the day, we love to release this tension from the stress that we have, and laughter is the best medicine. When you laugh, you release all that tension. You release the anxiety built up inside of the body. So I find that laughter is free, it's easy, it's enjoyable, it's fun. And the more I can bring laughter into people's lives, the more I know I'm able to bring value to them. And, it's great when people tell me that I'm inspiring. I hear that a lot. I'm humbled by that. However, when people say, you made me laugh my ass off in your talk or whatever, that goes further for me, because I know that I was able to distribute more joy to their current reality.
Beautiful. Well, you made me think of something when you were talking about the formula, the unstoppable formula. I was thinking about, this, you alluded to this, the idea of the number 2, you aligning with your life purpose, and just going back to, the question of what's funny about this, if there's something stressful. I know for me as an entrepreneur and somebody who went through a lot of breakdowns to get to a lot of shifts and I just am a lifelong experiential learner, I believe. One of the things I found is that by aligning with your life purpose, that has helped me, and I'm guessing with you as well, and anybody that gets this, to deal with the stress or the, as you said, the haters or the negativity. And I love the addition of the laughter piece, because I think that just adds a different dimension. But when you were talking about that, I wanted to say, I know personally, knowing a larger purpose, like you had said earlier, there were times that you felt you were in dark moments. in that season of winter. But when you had somebody that you know, could serve and help, that flipped the switch. And so just my thinking and going through this formula, you know, adding that humor to anything, I know that helps with healing. And as you said, the stress evaporates. And I think also going back to that number two, when you align with that, with your life purpose and really getting that, for me, that's allowed me to get through a lot of insecurity. It's not about me.
Huh.
It's not about me.
Well, it gives you like a cloak of invisibility. And was
Yeah.
that from Harry Potter or whatever, where they could disappear? And when you have that life purpose, you realize that you're here for something so much bigger that day-to-day problems can bounce off of you and that you will get back up. You know, when you run your own business, there are times where you might feel like, I don't know where we're headed anymore, or I feel like I'm so busy doing the wrong thing, or what does our message even mean anymore? Or am I a hypocrite because I don't feel like I'm on my path? Like all this stuff. But then you get back and you just sit with, why was I born? Like, what am I here to do? And then when you get realigned with that, everything starts to fall back into place. And you can't stray from that if you want to have the power to get back up.
Hmm. That's a great question. I'm thinking for people listening, I get this a lot, like, I don't know my life purpose. How do I know that? And it sounds like one of the questions, I love this, it's asking yourself, and I even think when you were talking about going from your head, dropping into your heart, I could even imagine dropping into your heart and saying, why was I born? Maybe that would be a question. Are there other,
Yeah.
yeah,
Your intuition is seated in your heart. That's why we bow our heads when we pray, because the answers are not in our head. The answer's in the heart.
amen. Holy moly, amen to that. I am curious. So, just to switch gears for a minute, you do 12-hour sessions, and I am trying to, like, that is mind blowing. A, because 12 hours is quite a bit of time to focus with somebody. I think it's beyond incredible. Can you share a little bit about what that looks like? I mean, I know of people that have worked with you that literally have worked on and recovered addictions and massive, you know, life stuff with you. How do you do that? What does that look like? Whatever you're comfortable sharing. Like, I'm so curious, and I would imagine people listening are like, what does 12-hour sessions look like? Like, that's like a marathon, kind of.
Yeah. Well, it never feels like 12 hours. It feels like 12 minutes.
Yeah.
Because when you peel back the layers of bullshit that we all tell ourselves and hide behind, you realize, wow, I could use another 48 hours with this person. So you got to move quickly. 12 hours goes by fast. So that's one thing. Time gets definitely distorted. The second thing is no two breakthroughs is what they're called. Breakthroughs are ever alike. This is not something I concocted. It's a full immersion therapy, breakthrough therapy. It's based out of NLP, neuro linguistic programming. I've been NLP practitioner, a master practitioner from the year 2000 on, and then I've been a trainer of NLP for the last 10 years, 2000, no, I'm going on 11 years now. So with NLP, this process is a 12-hour process where we peel back the layers. I add a lot to my own different process that I've added to succeed in life, to overcome pain and problems. I put that into the breakthrough as well. Some people come in because their relationship has lost a flame and they are just living with a roommate and they aren't attracted romantically at all to that person, but they would like to feel that spark again. And we go back in time and we look at what were they doing. And inevitably, they are not on their unstoppable formula. They stopped doing the self-care on themselves and their relationship. They stopped connecting to their life purpose, and they started adding toxicity and not empowerment to their environment. So, we get them back onto the unstoppable formula. Sometimes people come in where they are sabotaging something in a business, where they make a bunch of money and then they lose a bunch of money, or they gain a bunch of weight and then they lose the weight and then they gain it again. And humans go through cycles until they get down to the real issue. And a human being is fascinating. They're my favorite animal on the planet by far, because the psyche of a human will always be congruent with its identity. So if the behavior, I should say, is always congruent with the psyche or the identity. And that is, if you feel deep down inside that you are the fat kid and that you aren't supposed to be thin, and there's a packet of Reese's peanut butter cups nearby, you're looking both sides around the room and you're like, fat kid's gonna eat this, peanut butter cup. And it's because that call on the inside is, hey, I know nobody else can see this, but I know that person's there. And the identity says, hey, we eat whatever we want, because what if there's not another Reese's peanut butter cup in my life for a while? And the human will do everything to line up with its identity. That's why you got to get down into the identity questions. What do you believe about yourself? What do you believe about your business? What do you believe about your capabilities with your strength and your health and your vitality? What do you believe about your ability to be loved and in a healthy relationship? Because what we find is, when there's sabotage going on, there's what they want, and then there's who they feel they are and what they feel worthy of. And your deeper insecurities will always have more strength than what you want, if that deeper insecurity has been conditioned for years. And you got to start with new conditioning, because you got to reverse that ship. It's been going one way for a long while. It's going to take a little time. And I see this. Have you ever been driving on the highway and you miss your exit? And what happens when you miss your exit and you need to go the opposite direction? What happens?
I know for me, I'm like, oh crap, what do I do next? And now, of course, with Waze, I'm like, Waze, what are all good? The next exit. There's a little bit of like, uh-oh, what did I do? I'm going to U-turn.
Yeah, nobody is happy when they miss their exit. It's if they are, they probably are unique individuals.
Right.
But most people, when they are going further in the wrong direction, knowing that they're in the wrong direction, that eats us up. Like, what was I thinking? Why wasn't I in the right lane? But sometimes, like when you take on a massive amount of financial debt, or you are in a body that you gained a bunch of weight or some health issues, and then you decide, that's it, I'm going to be healthy, that's it, I'm going to be rich. And it doesn't feel like it happens overnight, because you missed your exit a while ago. Now you have to do the certain things over and over and over until finally you get that exit, and then you got to make up time to just get back to where you finally realize you were lost. And to have the patience with yourself when you feel like, I now know I'm in the wrong direction. It's going to take time to turn this body around. It's going to take some time to turn this health around. And it's fascinating. The law of thermodynamics says it best, that like it's much easier and quicker to destroy something than to build something. If it was easy for all of us to get rich, everybody would be rich. If it was easy to be in great shape and it was quick to get it, if everybody could get in shape with one workout, I'm pretty sure we'd all be fit, because we could all find time to do one workout in our life. But it's more than one workout, isn't it? So just having the wherewithal to know that it's going to take time to deal with that psychic condition, new behavior. And when it comes to the breakthrough, I've seen so many transformations where people are like, this is why I put the emergency brake on. It was killing the relationship. It was killing my business. It was killing my body, whatever. And so they're mad that their emergency brake is on, but they actually put it on because they were trying to be consistent with their identity, or they're trying to be consistent with their another fear that they might lose somebody or something. So we get down to the root issues, and the root issues are awesome because every behavior and every choice that we make has a positive intent. Even if it's not the smartest intent, it's not the greatest idea, it has the positive intent to protect us, to make sure that we don't lose our love, make sure we don't lose our approval or our admiration or our validation from those that we want to seek approval from. And so when you get down to the root issues, that's when you can start to make progress. Because then you can ask the person, then you can get to choice and say, what do you want more? Do you want to be safe with your little, security blanket here and guarantee that it's, you're not going to get called upon in the world again? Or do you want this adventure? Because no adventure has guarantees. It wouldn't be an adventure if it did. You have to be willing to take on a lot of uncertainty if you want a lot of excitement.
Wow, this is one of my favorite conversations. I could go for hours because part of what I'm hearing, I've been taking notes, but this idea of the identity and these root issues. And I'm curious what you think about this, just for, I've coached a lot of people, but even my own self going through a lot of transition in leaving a marriage and with food addiction and leaving my corporate day job to start my own business, all of these things. I have 2 kids under 2 when I was getting divorced and a master's degree, and literally shifting it all around. And for me, Dr.
You do that all in the same week?
God, no. It's funny, I had a health break. It's not funny. I had a health breakdown, which I see as a gift now. My thyroid just was like, bye-bye, we're done. And interestingly, for me, on an intuitive level, it had a lot to do with my voice, not using my voice and throat. That's a whole other conversation, but all of it has been a huge gift into who I am today. I'll tell you though, for me, what I realized was this idea of worthiness and true self-love, not and that's maybe what I'm so crazy passionate about, is this idea, like you had said in the Unstoppable Formula, this idea that, we all have a life purpose. Like you said, this is one of the things that touched me, is that, you said you chose this life exactly as it is so people could hear you. And I believe that to my core. We are sacred beings that chose exactly who we are. When I got that, the whole game changed. And it's very interesting. Food issues, it's like it all realigned. And so I'm listening to you. This really rings true for me. And I would imagine people listening, those questions of like, what do you believe, is such a crucial question that I don't know that most people are asking themselves. This is huge.
Sure. You want me to share a couple of my beliefs?
Sure, please.
Yeah. One of my beliefs is that everything happens for me, not to me. Yeah. That I am not a victim to anything, that it is all unfolding for lessons. One of my beliefs is that the only major challenge is deciding not to adapt. Or as I like to say, the only disability is one's refusal to adapt. If you've ever heard like Darwinian thinking, like the strong survive, the strongest survive, or whatever, it's been misinterpreted. It's the animal that adapts the best survives, not the strongest. And so if you're willing to keep changing your approach until you get something to click, you will survive. And, I recently was on a call. We have a online membership community called the Lucrative Society. And I was sharing with them that what it takes to be sexy is not sexy. what it takes to be sexy is not sexy. Take health, right? It is not sexy sweating and grunting and passing out from like that last rep and you just, ugh. But then when you do that over and over and over, and you put on your leggings and your butt looks good in that spandex, you're like, yeah, well, it wasn't sexy to get this sexy. I had to do things that weren't sexy to have this sexy. And the same thing in business. You know, when you see somebody take the stage at a major conference and they're sharing the stage with some VIPs and you're like, wow, that's so sexy. Or you're seeing that they get to travel the world and people are paying them really good money, or their book launch comes out, they're a New York Times bestseller, and you're like, holy cow, that's so sexy. You didn't see all of the back and forth negotiations they did with multiple publishers that said, yeah, we don't see the concept, or no, we don't hire people like you. We've already filled the speaker program, and we already have our female speaker, so we're already booked on female speakers. Like blatant discrimination, you don't see that. You don't see the negative, mean legal battles at times. You don't see people having to deal with their business partner screwing them. Like you don't see them getting screwed over and challenged. You just see the New York Times list. You just see them on that stage. You just see them with the sexy component. But let me tell you, it was not sexy. It's like the quote, if you eat meat, everybody wants to eat the sausage, but they don't want to know how it's made. You know, and it's that so much happens outside of our awareness. Facebook is the front stage, right? It's social media is the front of stage, but you don't see the backstage. You don't see the nights that people cry themselves to sleep. You don't see the heartache. You don't see them holding their two kids going, am I going to get loved again? Like, is a relationship in the cards for me? You don't see the person like selling their home because they need the money and now they're moving into an apartment and they think to themselves, I never thought I was going to have to move back into an apartment. And here I am going back in time. We don't see that, but it needs to be talked about because it's a part of life. You know, I was in the hospital not too long ago over Thanksgiving with kidney stone, and I'm in excruciating pain. And I'm just thinking to myself, I'm getting super constipated from the pain meds, and I'm feeling awful. And I'm thinking, like, people don't see that I'm still dealing with health challenges. You know, and that's why I try to post things on social media about what's really, here I am at the hospital. You know, it sucks, but friends are still coming over. Life still moves on. You got to have that balance of being able to share your truth, but don't share it with like the world of like, oh, everybody here might train wreck and feel sorry for me. You know, you need to get that balance.
Wow. So well said. Well, like you said, you know, everything's happening for you, and just that sharing. What I'm hearing too is the authenticity and the vulnerability. And you embody that.
And play to the buzzer. That's one of the things in my journal. In the beginning, I have these things that I read in the morning, and one of them is play to the buzzer. You know, in every athletic sport, pretty much, there's a time or a number of innings or whatever. Like there's a structure to it, and there's a clear ending. And if you quit because you feel like you're not going to win, because you don't think you're going to get it off the ground, before the buzzer goes off, you're not doing it right. You need to play to the buzzer, even if it doesn't work, because you're going to learn things. There have been times when in business, I have had negotiations where I was pretty sure I wasn't going to get the client or I wasn't going to get the deal just because the signs were showing, and I'm like, and I wanted to quit. Or a speech where the audience wasn't paying attention or they weren't laughing. And it's very easy to just want to walk out and be like, you know what? Screw you, audience. You're not going to laugh at any of this stuff. the other audiences did, I'm out of here. No, you got to play to the buzzer. You got to see, how can I win them over? You got to see, how can I get this deal? How can I pull this off? So play to the buzzer and be willing to lose at your best. Be willing to lose at your best means, be willing to lose at your best means that you're not always going to win and get all the fanfare. Sometimes you're going to lose and all the eyes are going to be on you. And that's okay. You know, if you are only willing to win when everybody's looking, you're not willing to lose when everybody's looking, you're not going to ever be a champion. You got to be willing to lose playing your best game with all the eyes on you. And that's how it works.
Yeah. Wow, that is so powerful. Thank you for sharing these beliefs. I mean, I got chills as you were speaking. I think everyone listening, I mean, these are so, so powerful. I'm like, okay, I still have so many questions and I'm going to manage myself because you said so many things that one of the things I want to come back to, I'm very curious about you. You had mentioned early on about what I heard was this idea of, when you nourishing, your spirit and your ego, about, how you've really come into being who you are, your highest self, your USU, your spirit and your ego. I actually am curious. You alluded to this a little bit in the Best Year Ever conference, but for those listening, and some know what spirit means, others have different definitions. What does that look like for you, Sean, to nourish your spirit, your soul? Like what practices, what does that mean and look like to you, if you're comfortable sharing?
Sure. So I pray, I meditate, and that's how I connect to the non-physical, if you will. And I believe that it's also in nature. You know, when you go out and you spend time in nature, one of the things on my self-care list is go out and be in nature. And, you don't always get to go for a beautiful hike in the mountains of Sedona. Sometimes you just got to walk around your neighborhood. Just go out and get some oxygen outside of the building that you spend most of the time in. Sometimes it's maybe you can go to a forest nearby, or a little body of water, or anything to go out and be with nature. That's where I oftentimes feel connected to my spirit. I also feel like I'm most connected to my non-physical when I'm clearing the chatter in my mind. And that can be through the conscious breath work of Kundalini yoga and breathing. So I'll do the breath of fire, which is, just constant in and out through the nose, and just pulsing that breath and doing that for 20 minutes, and just putting on maybe a meditation soundtrack on my phone and just focus on my breath and nothing else. That will connect me to my spirit. Sometimes, and this is very vulnerable, but sometimes I'll literally write in my journal, Dear Sean, and then I'll write a letter that I am embodying the non-physical. What do I need to hear? So if God were to write me a letter, what would God say to me? And when you come from a space of, and again, not everybody will agree with this, and that's okay. Everybody's got to be in alignment with their own beliefs. But when you come from the highest vibration, which is super loving and accepting of every part of who you are, and then you write yourself a letter, you find that there's this amount of compassion that you will give yourself when you write from a voice of God. And when I've written my letters to myself from God, they're very uplifting, and they very much remind me of what I've done and what more I have to do, but not in a chastising way. When I let my ego tell me what more I need to do, it will oftentimes do it in a way that I feel like crap that I haven't done it yet. But when I write from my spirit, it will do it in a way that I feel excited. I can't wait. This is going to be amazing. This is going to be great. And it's going to unfold only at the rate and speed at which God wants it to. And, there's this peace. It's like I saw somewhere in Mindy's office, there's some quote, and I'm paraphrasing, about like, take a page out of nature's book, be patient. Like, nature doesn't shoot, oak tree overnight out of the ground, right? And so it's like, what's the best time to plant an oak tree? 50 years ago. What's the second best time? Today. And so I spent time connecting with the patience of nature. And, I really like being around like-minded people that are just peaceful to be around. I have a few people in my life that I've never really seen them lose their shit. Like, they've been through so much in their life that they are able to just emanate presence and groundedness. It's not that they're perfect, it's just they've been through so much and they've come out the other side so strong that being around them gets me back in touch with my own spirit.
Beautiful. Yeah, I'm just thinking, like, those listening, I love that idea of the letter, writing yourself that letter from that place of, if I were to hear from the highest source, from God, universe, whatever you call it, what would he, she, it say to me? I love that. And the idea of nature and the fire breath, and I'll have some information on fire breath breathing, because it's such a powerful way to use like you said earlier, it's free. That's what I love about all of this. It's free and natural.
And when I'm by myself, and I don't talk about this often, but when I'm by myself, I think out loud. I will have like a split personality conversation with myself. I'll be like, all right, why aren't you working out? Tell me. And like, almost like coach student, coach client. And then the other side will be like, because what's the point? I injured myself last time I did it, and I don't want to injure myself again. And like, just go back and forth and keep that space of compassion for myself, and talk through it and see that, we can get back in alignment with what we need to be doing, whether that's working out, working on a project in business, reconnecting to someone I love. So it's a process of being willing to do things that other people might think are woo-woo or cheesy. A lot of who I am is doing activities that other people would be way too uncomfortable to do. But that's what's got me to where I'm at. And let me tell you, the goals that I have and what I want to achieve in this life, I'm going to have to do things that are even way more out of my comfort zone that I've done thus far.
Awesome. All right. My last question, it's like you knew that was my question, is I literally have, like, so you talked about the goals that you want to achieve, let's say we're at 120, 110 years old, wherever that might be for you. And you're looking back, what are some of those goals that you'll know, yeah, that was what I came here to do? What are some of those bigger visions, goals, dreams?
Yeah. I would like to have completed an orphanage that I fully funded for children with disabilities that are taken care of, that normally would be either drowned because their family is ashamed of them, or left on the streets in poverty. I would like them to be raised to feel like they're superheroes. They're a part of some kind of like X-Men mutant school, as opposed to some reject that the society has turned their back on. So I would like to fully fund orphanage, if not orphanages, for people with disabilities. There's some movies that are inside of me that I would like to produce. There's a one-man show inside of me that I want to complete and to experience performing. There's just a lot of things that are on my lists of things to do. I want to speak at the Sydney Opera House. Some of them are very easy to do. It could just be one phone call away from somebody saying, hey, Sean, to bigger things like winning an Academy Award. So it's just, I think it's more important to have things that you're working toward than a bunch of accomplishments on a shelf that you did when you were in high school and college. You need to have a life that is calling you forward, not one that's on a shelf that's saying, oh, you did this at one time in your life. I don't want to be Al Bundy talking about high school football days. I want to be the person that's always talking about that next thing he's working on.
Yeah. Wow. Well, what's amazing with you is, just reading through your intro, and I know we talked a little bit about that. Your intro is, the highlight reel. However, your highlight reel is pretty stupendous and incredible. And what
Thank you.
it really is, and it's so inspiring. And for all of us, and for anyone listening, even, if it's not an Academy Award, maybe it's, who knows? Like maybe it's raising a family that's functional.
Yeah. No goal is better than another goal. That's right. It's what lights you up.
Yeah.
I mean, one of my goals is not going to cost much money at all. Reading 52 books in 52 weeks, like that's just about putting the time and effort in.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, there's so many great things that we should be pursuing and lit up about.
Absolutely. That's so fantastic. And my gut is you'll be hitting the list and then some. There's going to be some that are.
Can I share a resource that I recommend?
Yes. Oh my God, sure. Anything. Are you kidding?
Okay. So if you were interested in learning more about the Unstoppable Formula, and you want to be able to have a video course from me teaching the Unstoppable Formula, you can share it with your friends and your family. Go to theunstoppableformula.com and go ahead and register, and you will get access to the Unstoppable Formula. You'll get an email. You have to follow the sequence. And on the other side of that sequence, you'll get a course of me teaching the Unstoppable Formula that you can then share with the people you love most.
That's awesome. And I'll have that in the takeaway in the show notes as well. We'll have all of those links. That is awesome. So it's theunstoppableformula.com. It's really easy.
Yep.
Yeah. Those driving, write it down after. I'm always like, you can remember that. That's easy because we talked about it. It'll be in the show notes. That's awesome, Sean. Is there anything else? I mean, I know you have a best-selling book. I mean, anyone that looks you up can find. You're also on Instagram. You're on Facebook. Where can everyone follow you?
Well, right now I'm really excited about Instagram. You know, and my Instagram handle is the number 3 foot giant, the 3 foot giant. And I am enjoying the gram right now and putting up Instagram stories. In fact, let's do a quick little photo while I got you on here. And we are on this podcast right now because I'll put it on my Instagram story and we'll make it legit. All right. So here we are. Perfect. I just added that. Oops, I just took the wrong picture. That was on a, there we go.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
Can't see my eyes. I'm smiling so big for those. So awesome. Find you on the gram. I love it. 3 foot.
That's right.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Oh my God. Seriously, you are such a powerful light. I'm going to try to control myself for those who are tuning in. So when I met you, I want to just say this out loud. I was so incredibly moved by who you've chosen to be. And you are somebody, I said to one of my dear friends, I was standing there just crying. I couldn't help myself because you're somebody who has chosen to step into your light and power and to serve at the highest level. And I was so moved by you, Sean. I literally was shaking. This doesn't usually happen to me. And I was crying in front of you. And I honor and salute you. You are.
Well, I felt like Justin Bieber for 2 seconds. So thank you for that. Because I was like, oh yeah, look at this. I came home and I even told Mindy, I was like, baby, it is this awesome experience. And I told her about meeting you. And I was like, I'm amazing, aren't I? And she's like, why didn't you put your dishes away? You know, or like whatever.
Keeping it real. I love it. Oh my God. Your wife sounds amazing. And I know she has retreats and things that she does, and we can add that as well. She does a lot with connecting to your heart. I know you said earlier.
Yeah, you can go to find out more go to heartpathretreats.com. So that's retreats.com to find out more
Beautiful.
about her retreat in Sedona, all about following your life's purpose, finding out what your life purpose is, and getting aligned with it. So my favorite thing about what we've created in our company together is I really love focusing on the self-care. She focuses on the life purpose. And then we have another company called LucraFit, where we get people into the right environment and the right choices with their health. So it's all about making sure that you have all three of those things lined up properly. And that's why the Unstoppable Formula is, I feel, one of my greatest contributions to the planet, is just saying, look, clients that come out of really intense 12-hour sessions with me, the ones that go on to be unstoppable, follow the formula. The ones that don't follow the formula. Not my problem. They have to be the ones that stick to the formula. And if you stick to it, it works.
Yeah. So I was part of a 12-step group for a long time, and we'd say, when you work it, it works. If you don't, it doesn't work. So
exactly.
It works when you work it. If people want to connect with you about 12-hour sessions, or just is the best way through the gram or the...
Yeah. Well, if they come through the unstoppableformula.com,
okay.
Then that'll start the process of them getting to know more about me, and they'll get emails from me, and that'll take them on the journey.
Beautiful. Wow. You are beyond a badass. You are just such a light and such a gift to me, to all of our listeners, to the world. Master teacher, you really are. And I am so grateful, and I'm so honored to have had you on the show.
Yeah, thank you for having me.